Thanks for tuning in to the third episode of What Do You Say Anime. On today's episode, we will be discussing our first impressions on the summer anime season and discuss on what's hot and what's not. We'll be using our discussion topic and viewer question segment today to talk about the recent tragedy at Kyoto Animation. Adam debuts a new game for us to play, and lastly, our off-the-cuff questions. So sit back, grab some Pokesticks, and enjoy the opening song to one of the best shows so far this season, Dr. Stone.
おはよう世界 Good morning world どれほど歩いたろう足の痛みだけがその距離を物語る長い夜を越えた絶景の期待が孤木を生かしている神々の霊峰新緑の宮殿岩窟の採用早急の果て踏破してみせる限界はない星の隅々までおはよう世界 Good morning world 不可能の闇を払って神話を日常に変えていくオルセイ一歩ずつ石を浮かすようなこの歩みで世界を広げよう
Welcome to episode 3, everyone. Hope everyone's having a wonderful week. It's nearing the end of July, and that means the summer 2019 anime season is off and running now. And boy, do we have things to talk about this week. But before that, we kick things off. Peter, what's been going on your end?
Not a whole lot, just enjoying the 10,000 degree weather that we had in Minnesota recently and stay inside and watch the anime.
Yeah, it's been a pretty hot season. I was up at the cabin for a few days, so I was out on a lake enjoying myself, and the weather has been beautiful. But let's not talk about that right now. We got some anime to talk about. So do you want to kick things off with our first summer anime show you've been watching?
We're going to jump into it. This first segment, we're going to be talking about all the shows that me and Adam have watched. Some both of us have seen, some only Adam has seen, some only I have seen. I'm going to break it down to 4 different ways of how I want people to view the shows that we're talking about. I say that we either need to go see it right now, maybe consider it if it's your taste, a big maybe question mark if it's iffy, and then completely avoid it at all cost. The first show that I saw was Maidens of the Savage Season. It's premiering on High Dive, or if you have VRV, you can watch it as well. Great show. It's about girls who are experiencing essentially puberty in high school. It's about these girls who don't really involve themselves with sex at all, learning and more and more about the sex cultures and like the sexual innuendos just in general life. And they're discovering boys for the first time. They're discovering like more things to just life in general, but it all revolves around essentially sex. It's more of a comedy. It's more of a coming of age of these teenage girls like really understanding like what it's like to like venture out of their comfort zone in their teenage years and move into like dating, in this case sex, and just like talking about it with friends and how uncomfortable you were when you were like 14, 15 years old of yeah, you like girls and all, but and you like the idea of sex, but you're so nervous and everything like that. And it's kind of like one of those experiences. And the main characters are 5 girls in a literature club who read more of like an erotic novel for the first time. That's kind of what sparks this whole premonition of exploring sexuality. And it's really funny. It has like this, if you saw Asobase from last season, where it's like these cute high school girls like exploring more and more of each other in like a sexual way. Really funny, really like awkward. There's like a scene where a girl is trying to understand essentially how sex works and like how it's even possible for like a guy to have sex with a girl, and like the metaphor that they use is like a train going through a tunnel. So it's like that type of sexual visualization of like, oh my god, a train can fit in a tunnel. So it's like really funny, like sexual innuendos, that type of thing. And but at the same time, it's like really real. It's like there are girls who are, these girls are like, they're like obviously like all like virgins, and but they're really really intrigued about this. And then there's girls in high school who are much more experienced than them, and they're very like conflicted. They want to know more, but they don't want to come off as like I guess in girls' terms like a slut or something like that. So it's like a really cool dynamic that you a lot of times you don't see in like anime, where a lot of times it's like very very cautious, very like shy. Like that's like, ooh, if I hold your hand, like it's like almost start blushing. But this time they're talking about like straight up sex. So personally, I have it as a go watch right now. I think it's that good. I think if you are into like really, this is a really really smart funny show, and if you're into that type of thing, and maybe you want to like relive your like awkward high school moments in like a really smart funny way, not like a cliche rom-com, I think this is the show for it.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things from YouTubers and stuff, so it's one of those shows I wasn't all that interested in when we started the season, but from the comedy aspect of it, it seems like it might be more up my alley than I gave it credit for at the beginning.
Yep, and like we said previous episode, the director of Toradora and Anohana does this show, so it's, I don't think you can go wrong.
Alright, well, I'll definitely be adding it to my list. The first show that I started watching was The Ones Within, and this one you can find on Funimation. I don't believe it has a dub up yet, but I believe it's getting one. This is an interesting one because the premise of it is Let's Players that are all from different genres of Let's Play, whether that be fighting games or RPGs or like dating sims or something. They're all kidnapped by some mysterious group and brought to a mysterious land that's, I don't know if it's an island per se, but they're taken away from society and they're forced to survive these games in order to get the biggest viewer count possible. And they're only able to leave after they get, I believe, 100 million views on this like hidden camera survival game that they're all playing. And if they fail, they'll die. The premise sounds kind of like a suspenseful thriller type of show, but it's really not. It's actually more of a comedy, which I don't know how I feel about that. I don't feel like the two genres really mesh very well, but at times it actually is quite hysterical. For example, in episode 2, there's a scene where they have to play a nurturing game, so 4 of the Let's Players are selected, and they have to help a girl who's going to hatch from an egg go to an all-girls school, maintain her grades, and have the pretty boy teacher fall in love with her. Like, it's a mixture of a like farming simulator where they have to like hatch this egg, but also a dating sim. And the girl that hatches out of the egg is based on the characteristics that they find most appealing. And so they're all like told to think about whatever characteristics or personality traits they would like, and they all think of something really weird. So like one person's thinking of just a girl in a schoolgirl outfit, another person's thinking about an afro, and then one of the guys is thinking about a panda. And so this girl is born, she's a sweet nice girl, but she's born as a panda in a schoolgirl outfit with a giant afro. And if you're on our Discord or follow me on Discord, it's actually my Discord picture now because it's so hilarious looking. It's a panda with an afro and a bow. But then she has to go to an all-girls school and make the pretty boy teacher fall in love with her. It's completely weird, but I've actually enjoyed the comedy aspects of it, but I don't know how well everyone would enjoy this show. So for me, it's a consider it. I think there are people that would enjoy it, but it's definitely not going to be up everybody's alley.
I was wondering what the icon was on your avatar for Discord. I'm definitely probably not going to add this to the list, but the premise is a little different, so I respect that.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to be everyone's cup of tea for sure.
I agree. All right, next up we have, I believe it is a Crunchyroll exclusive, and that's Doctor Stone. Takes place 3,700 years from present day after the entire world is turned into stone statues. Um, it takes place like it's the main characters are two high school students. One's big and brawny, the other one's smart and like a scientist, and he's essentially the Doctor Stone. Really over the top like animations. I like that it doesn't take itself serious, but at the same time, it's very smart. Um, it's like a survival type of show where they're literally rebuilding everything from scratch, but they have the knowledge of what they had before. So it's really smart to see like how they're trying to collect like these different elements to make different types of materials. So like in one of the episodes, they're collecting like seashells to break up, and then like mix with fire and mud to make some form of like cement. And so it's like kind of cool, like Bill Nye the Science Guy experiments, but at the same time, that it's like real world, like there's stuff going on where like some I don't want to give too many spoilers away, but there's obviously conflict that happens in a world where you've been frozen for 3,700 years in stone. The animations are fantastic. If you heard the opening song to our intro, that's from Dr. Stone. Really nice OP. I like it a lot. The show itself, like as I said, doesn't take itself too seriously, but it's really fun. If you like shonen, like smart shonen, but like not action-based shonen, like I don't know how to describe it. It's Bill Nye the Science Guy if it was in Shonen Jump. I right now I have it as a go watch it now. I think it's a really good show. I think the animations are fantastic. The characters are super funny, and like they mesh really well with each other. I think there's 3 episodes out right now, so definitely go check it out on Crunchyroll if you have it.
Yeah, it's a show that I have on my list, and I feel like I want to binge it, but everyone's raving about it, so I'm probably just gonna have to jump into it and deal with the episode to episode format of a seasonal show, even though that's not exactly my thing.
Yeah, and it is a 2-core show, so if you want to binge it, you're gonna have to wait 6 months. So
yeah, I can't wait that long.
You might have to jump on the bandwagon a little early.
I'll do it. All right. The next show that I'm talking about is Magical Senpai. This is a short, and it airs on Crunchyroll, if I remember right. Yeah, Crunchyroll. And it's about a kid, a freshman coming into school, and he's trying to find a club to join, one that he doesn't have to take seriously, that he can just ditch to go play video games. And he comes across the Magic Club, which actually isn't a club officially yet, but it has one member, and it's his senpai who is terrible at magic. She can't perform any tricks properly. Everything tends to go wrong, and it ends up in some silly like panty shot or mock bondage scene. And he actually seems to have some potential at being a decent magician. Like, he knows a few kind of tricks that he's able to impress a couple kids out in a park at one point, but his senpai is absolutely the worst magician ever. It's a short, it's 12, 13 minutes long, so it's not a big time commitment. But I don't know if this is going to be for everyone. I feel like this is a maybe from me. If you like shorts, if you like silly, ecchi things, then, I mean, it's not full-blown ecchi, but it's got those typical panty shots that you'll expect. So, it's a maybe for me.
Yeah, I think I have it at a maybe too. I think the episodes are really quick and easy to watch. The comedic elements, so it's hit and miss sometimes. There's some pretty funny episodes, and then the other times there's like, it's literally there for like a fan service shot, so it's hit and miss. I definitely put it at a maybe, but if you like short, quick 12-minute shows, I think it's perfectly fine. Next up, we have the second season of Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon? I previously watched the first season along with Adam, but I don't think Adam has started season 2 yet.
Nope. And
to my surprise, it is much better than the first season. I thought the first season was like okay. I gave it like a 7 out of 10 on Mal. Where I thought it was like, in terms of like animation, it's much better than like a typical fantasy type of show, but like the storylines are similar. And season 2 kind of kicked it off with a bang of I didn't see that coming. I thought it was just going to be typical dungeon crawler RPG fantasy show, and I don't want to give spoilers away or anything like that, but definitely took me for a ride. The first 2 episodes, especially the second episode, was much different. I'm not gonna say it was like, I don't know if it was good. It was just way different than what the show was normally. So I definitely, if you're a fan of like these fantasy RPG style shows, pick up the first season and then start watching the second season. Right now I have it as a consider it if that's your type of thing. Luckily it's not like all the other isekai shows this season because it's not technically an isekai. It's just like a fantasy. But definitely I would say go and check it out if that's your type of show.
Well, that's good to hear too, because I was a little more. I enjoyed the first season a little more than you. I feel like that was one of my favorites the season when it came out, the season it came out, and I'm glad to hear that it sounds like it's better than the first season, which I definitely didn't expect. I expected to fall off on season 2. So
I think it's gonna be hit and miss. I think there's gonna be some people who don't like where the direction it's going. And I think there's some people who are like me, where they're glad to see it go in a different direction.
okay.
Honestly, I would have been fine if season 2 picked up like season 1, like a dungeon crawler RPG style show. But they are definitely going in a different direction, and it's very like the arc that they're going on is very similar to another show that I really don't want. It would be spoilers if I say it, but
All right.
you'll pick it up right away if you've seen this show as well. So I'd say consider it if that's your type of show.
All right, I'll definitely be jumping on that right after we're done with this. So the next the next show we're going to be discussing is, I'm just going to say right now, it's my favorite show of the season. If you follow me on Twitter or on Facebook or on anything, I've done nothing but gush about this show, and it's How Heavy Are the Dumbbells You Lift. Going into this season, it was my most anticipated, and I think I've watched the first 2 episodes of the 3 that are out at least 4 times. The premise of the show is about a girl named Hibiki, who is a high school girl. I don't know her exact age. I think it's 16. And her friend Ayaka are walking back from school, and Ayaka points out that Hibiki looks like she's gained some weight lately. And Hibiki is a garbage disposal. She can just down food like nobody's business. She has a terrible eating habit, and so she's put on a few pounds, though she only weighs like 122 pounds, and she doesn't look that bad. But anyway, she's downing food, and she decides maybe it's time that I hit the gym and get in shape for bathing suit season for summer. And so she goes to Silverman's gym, which is a new gym that just opened, and an obvious reference to, was it Gold's Gym?
Yeah.
I believe. And she runs into the beautiful, stunning student council president, Akemi, who has a muscle fetish, you find out. And the two of them start working out at Silverman's gym to get in shape. It's an absolutely hilarious show, but it's also like an edutainment type thing where it shows you how to do workouts. I've been hit like me and P have both been hitting the gym lately, and that's kind of why I wanted to start watching this, and I've been incorporating some of the workouts routines that they do from this. I love it. I just love this show. I could gush on about it for days. Hibiki is just like me. She can eat like nobody's business. And she is me personified if it was a woman. And Akemi, I love her muscle fetish and her facial expressions and reactions. Like when she's drooling over muscles and gushing about it. She's my waifu. And this kind of goes back to one of the questions you asked. I think it was in episode 1 where you asked what's the difference like between waifu and best girl, or how do you describe it? Hibiki is best girl, and Akemi is my waifu in this.
I completely understand.
So I have this as a go watch it now. If you enjoy fitness at all, I feel like you'll love this. It's a funny comedy. There's more characters than just the 3 that I mentioned, like the gym instructor. He's hilarious. He's like a Prince Charming, but when he hears muscles or flex, he just rips out of his clothes by flexing. and he looks like some Arnold Schwarzenegger on steroids back in his prime day. Like, he actually was it Kenshiro that in one of the episodes he does a cosplay as?
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks like that, but with like a perfect pretty boy face, like photoshopped onto a muscular body. It's great.
Yeah, and I'm also watching this show, and I'm also rating it as like a go see it now. I had high expectations for the show. It's silly and over the top. It kind of reminded me of like if Food Wars was for lifting type of thing, where like the animations are like really great, but every now and then you get like a close up of someone's face, and it's like over the top, exaggerated, eyes bursting out of their face, hilarious type of like facial expressions, and I really like that. And I really like that, especially on like Reddit. There's a lot of people who are like coming out of their shell and saying like, "Hey, this show is like pumping me up, and like I want to go to the gym." And there's a lot of like really nice stories of hearing people like, because me and Adam were both influenced by anime, and definitely for me, like it helped me get into fitness, and like this show is helping people get into fitness. And I always say like I don't care like what silly reasons motivate you to go to the gym. Like if it's an anime of cute girls lifting weights makes you go want to go to the gym, then who cares? Like that's great. Like I'm glad like people are getting into their fitness like regimen because of an anime show. Like bang off something you said earlier, like I don't really like the part of like it's portraying the girl as like fat and she weighs like 120 pounds. I think most girls would kill to be 120 pounds.
Oh, I know.
That was kind of like, I really wish they didn't make it. I wish it was just like a girl who just wanted to get in shape. I really don't like that, like to portray her as like out of shape or fat or like not attractive. And it's like this, she's a very cute and attractive girl, and it's kind of like what we based off like last episode with Cinderella 9. Like I wish it was just like more empowerment, not like
absolutely.
sexualizing everything and like nitpicking like every little thing. But I mean, the show itself is fantastic. I like how that's like they'll point to like a corn dog, it's like 390 calories, and they'll point to like some steak, it's like 860 calories, and it's like super funny, like little bits out of nowhere that they do. Like they do like the random like the trainer who was the voice actor from Shield Hero last year is now like the main trainer. And like every now and then they'll do like a quick 45-second video of tips and tricks on how to do a bench press lift or something like that, or like a heel lift. And it's like these are really funny, like actually useful information if you want to go to the gym. This is actually the correct way on how to do a bench press. So it's like really funny, informative. It's honestly I think it's a contender for anime of the season. I knew the show would be good, but like to put a show like this in consideration for anime of the season is like, for me personally, it's out of like I would never put like Food Wars as anime of the season, but this show is like there's a very high possibility that this is anime of the season, and I absolutely enjoy every second of the show. I've already seen every episode in sub, and I really want to watch it in dub too, just to get like a different perspective of the show.
I do want to actually comment on that. So there's a couple things that while you were talking came to my head. One, the dub, while not perfect, there you can tell the voice actors are having fun, and they did change some lines, I feel like, just to fit the voice flaps or whatever you want to call it, and they're legitimately funny. I find this show in dub hilarious, and it's worth watching. If you watch it in sub, it is still worth watching the dub. It might not be your cup of tea. You'll probably notice some faults with the voice acting, but it is still really funny, at least in my opinion. I loved the dub. And the music is phenomenal as well. The OP and the ED they're bangers.
The OP is so good. The OP is legit the best OP of the season. It's not even, I think it's not even close.
Oh, I 100% agree. And the ED for me is at least just as probably the best ED of the season for me as well. It's not as good as the OP, which I have on my playlist as the first song every time I go to the gym. I like I said, I can't gush enough about this show. And if I can just plug one more thing, the reason I even heard about the show was because of a YouTuber named Jaxblade, so I want to give him a shout out because he's doing like an episode by episode breakdown. He's a fitness trainer, and he's breaking down like every episode, talking about what they did right, potentially like the things that they talk about. Like I guess in episode 3 he had a little bit of a qualm with like what they portrayed as proper eating techniques. Like, he didn't like the idea of just some of the small things that they said, but he does a really good analytical breakdown about this series as both an anime and a manga. So if you do watch this and you feel like you want to start lifting and stuff, I just wanted you to say, go check out his channel. It's Jaxblade, JAXBLADE. He's has a great channel about this show.
Yep, I watched that too. It's pretty informative, and I just like hearing like breakdowns because I think it was like 2 seasons ago there was a doctor who broke down cells at work, and that was kind of something similar. Going to, like the biology of it. And those are really cool like informational guides on shows as well to get like a different perspective. And I watched the Jaxblade too, and that was really informative. And he's a really like charismatic person, so I really enjoyed his videos in general.
Yep.
All right, next up we have Fire Force. This is from the creator of Soul Eater. Only 2 episodes. The 3rd episode was supposed to come out Friday, but obviously with the Kyoto Animation fire that happened, they delayed the episode. Now like the show's kind of up in the air. It's on like I shouldn't say it's like a hiatus. They delayed the 1st episode or the 3rd episode, and it's still kind of seeing if they're going to continue with it this season, maybe push it off till next season. Definitely, but the show itself is, I just want to say, like, the animations are so fluid. When there's people, like, there's, like, fight scenes where, like, multiple people are running around really, really fast. And a lot of times they can be, like, really choppy, cut and paste animations. And the best way to describe the animations of the show is it's just so fluid. It may not be perfect, it may not be crisp, but it looks like every person moving, like, their legs were, like, the best detail that they could do. Like, maybe like the background art's not so good, but like the characters themselves are perfect, and how they move is perfect, and why they move is perfect. And I really, 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 really like give props to that, because a lot of times you see people just like Naruto running on like a green screen, it looks like, and this one's way different. I definitely give props to the animation on this show. The fight, there's been like one real fight scene I thought was pretty cool. I think it's perfect because you get like a taste of what the fight scenes are going to be like, and obviously there's going to be like an end boss. I'm sure the fight scene on that's going to be absolutely amazing, so I'm looking forward to stuff like that. The show, like the story, the dialogue is a little iffy at times. I feel like sometimes the scenes are drawn out a little bit. It's definitely like the only bad thing I can say about the show. I think the characters are really cool. I like that there's like different dynamics to like each character's role of part of the essentially the fire force that it's called Fire Force, but like the firefighter squad that they're a part of. Like each character has a role, they specialize in something different, and that's why they're together, they make like a really good team. Right now I have it as like a considerate. I don't think you have to rush out and go see it right now. I think maybe if you have other things on the table, go like maybe put this aside and watch it when there's more episodes out to see if you get a better taste of it. Obviously, we don't know if the season's going to continue this season, so that type of thing. So right now I have it about a considerate, but I think it's like a really, really good show so far.
Yeah, it's actually quite sad that this had to happen at the same time, or the show would come out at exactly the same time. We'd have such a disaster, but we'll definitely be getting into that later. Now we're going to be starting. Oh no, I guess are we starting the Isekai block?
Isekai block.
All right, so this next one, From Commonplace to World's Strongest, I feel like is probably going to have the biggest variance in fans from people who hated it to the people that liked it. I personally fall more on the side of the people that like it, but again, like I've said many times, I'm easy to please. So this show is about a group of students in a class that get teleported to a fantasy world. It kind of mixes like a dungeon crawler with like the slime from a couple of years ago. And anyway, I'll just continue. So the class gets teleported to this fantasy world where they have to help them. They haven't even really said what the end goal is, but they have to go through this dungeon and help protect this world. While going through this dungeon, the main character of the show, who is a synergist, is the class that he's given. It's got like an RPG element where everyone's got their own class. He gets lost and falls off a bridge due to an accident and ends up very, very, very deep in this dungeon and loses his arm and eventually kind of goes insane a little bit. and he decides he's going to survive at all costs regardless of who and what he has to kill along the way. And by using his synergist powers, he's able to kill a couple monsters. He eats them, and this causes him to gain their powers. And so, like we had in Slime a few seasons ago, by killing enemies and absorbing them and eating them, he's able to like increase his level and increase his stats and get new abilities. And he uses this to like create a gun that he basically goes through murdering all the enemies, all while the rest of his class basically just left him. They kind of were just like, well, we lost one of the heroes, but we'll continue on. I feel like the show is rushing itself a little bit. You can probably tell I didn't really have a lot to say. Kind of just the setup of who the main character is, because we really don't know a lot about it. I think that's the biggest issue the show has, is that it feels like they're just rushing through everything and not explaining much of anything. But I do like the concept if they could slow down and give us a reason to care about what's going on.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that it's rushed, because if you didn't know, this show was supposed to come out last year and it got delayed.
Are you serious? I didn't know that.
And it still feels rushed. So it's like, it's very funny that you say that, because I also feel that way. I think I watched a video on Digibro explaining this, so I'm going to steal his take, that they kind of want, it's kind of targeted towards the people who read the light novel. That there's stuff in the backstory that if you read the light novel, it kind of makes sense what's going on right now.
Yeah, I have no idea what's going on.
If you didn't read the light novel, you have no clue. We're talking about 4 different isekais. There's 4. I think there's more, but right now I think me and Am are just watching 4.
Yep.
Personally, I think this one's the worst. I hate the main character. He's just like an edgy edgelord. That's the only way I can describe it. That he literally goes from like
crybaby to an edgelord.
Yeah, he goes from like a crybaby to like random, like, I'm a huge badass, but he's not. It's the only way I could like kind of describe it, where he like, his hair changes color, he's all nice and stuff, and now he's like, I'm going to shoot everything that walks, and then I'm going to eat it and absorb all the power, which is kind of cool. I kind of like that. Like you said, the slime element is kind of cool. It's really random how he like discovers that if he eats stuff, he gets more powerful. So, but that's like one of the things where it feels kind of rushed, and that's why, because they're not targeting it. Yeah, like, I think that this is only like a 12 episode show. I would be shocked if this gets like a second season. And like, if the goal is it for you to buy the light novels to continue the story, they're doing a terrible job at it. Because I even think the light novel actually has pretty decent reviews. So the fact that they had like over a year to produce this anime and it's this bad is kind of concerning. I think it's only been 2 episodes. I just hate the main character. Like, that's a huge point for me. It's kind of like, this will be really weird. I'm going to branch off into something completely different. But one of the reasons why I didn't like Kill la Kill is I didn't like the main character. I actually like Mako, the side character. I thought she was by far the best character in the whole show. It kind of like set it adrift for me, where if you don't care about the main character, who's in 90% of the scenes, like, it takes away from the show. And I know that's super random why I just brought that up, but that's like, a lot of people love Kill la Kill, and I thought it was just fine.
I totally get what you're saying too. Like, I'm with you on that. The main character feels like he's a bad character. Yeah. It doesn't take away from me quite as much, but again, I've seen so many of these trash isekai just kind of go into it not expecting any good main characters anyway. I feel like the premise was there and they just dropped the ball, because it has the elements that it could be good, and I want to believe that they would do better, but it doesn't feel like they're going to.
Yep, and I think, like, maybe if this was like the only isekai show of the season and you needed to get like an isekai itch, I'd maybe put it as like a maybe, like, just so you can watch a new isekai show to fill that void until, for the people who like it, SAO comes out next season. I would put it as like a maybe, but for right now, I'm putting it as like a void. I'm probably going to drop it. I usually do like the rule of three, where I watch 3 episodes before dropping it, and I've only watched 2, so I'll probably give it 1 more episode to see if it like changes my mind. But personally, I put it as a void.
I have it as a maybe. Like I said, I feel like the premise is there, and there's a chance for this to be decent, but they have not done themselves any favors with the way the story is going. Because like I said, I don't even know who the major antagonist is or what's going on. And then the last episode just introduced like a undead vampire loli to the mix.
Yup. Yes, they did.
And so, like, if you're easy to please, like myself, you might just sit through it because you got nothing better to do while you're playing your MMOs. But for most other people, it probably will be in a void.
Yeah, and I think it comes out. I forgot what day it comes out, but I think it competes with some other shows on the day it comes out. So it's definitely like not the first show I go out on my way to watch when it comes out.
It's Monday. It comes out on Monday. So that's the only show on Monday for me too. So that kind of.
Oh, I would, since this is. Oh no, never mind. That doesn't come out on Monday.
Okay.
I remember it came out on Monday, and I think I watched it on like Thursday night or something. Like I didn't go on my way to watch this show.
Yeah, I just caught up on it a couple days ago, so. Which is sad because the next isekai we got, though, is Isekai Cheat Magician. This one is a similar premise. A couple students, a boy and a girl, Rin's the girl, I don't remember the dude's name.
I don't remember either.
I'm so bad with names. You'll get used to the point.
I think that's a part of the show where if you don't remember the main character, it kind of shows you how the show is.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, I can remember Belle from Is It Wrong to Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon, so that tells you that's probably one of the better shows on these lists of adventure shows. True. But anyway, main character and his childhood/girlfriend Rin, whatever they are, they end up getting teleported to a fantasy world of magic, and they find out that they both are exceptionally powerful magicians. Or, sorry, she's a magician, he's a sorcerer. There's a difference in this show, basically how they use their magic. But in this world, the magic is set in stone. Your power is a set number that doesn't increase, and your overall like mana, I guess we'll call it, just so that it has like a correlation to our systems most people might know, their mana pool is a certain length that never changes, and it basically determines how powerful you're going to be. And Rin is a magician who can control all 4 of the major elements. What is it? Fire, water, wind, and earth, which is exceptional. And she's more powerful than the most powerful magician in the realm. And main character guy, who I don't remember, like I said, I don't remember his name. He's a sorcerer, which means his magic comes slightly differently. They don't know what elements he can control, but it's possible he might also control like time, space, and something else. And he has a power that's like 3 times as high as Rin's, and has the ability to could take out an entire nation by himself if he wanted. There's not a lot to say to this one. I have this one probably as an avoid. I don't find it all that great. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to finish it. I'll probably give it a 6 by the end of the season, because I'll be like, there was something good there, but I don't have a lot to really say about it.
I love how we conflict on isekai shows, because this was like the one where, like, if I had to recommend, if you had an isekai itch for the season, this would be the one that I would watch, because it's like everything. It's cliche isekai.
Yeah.
Like teleport to another world. He's not. He's a kind of a bland bitch protagonist, but like not as bad as like Shin from Wise Man Grandchild from last season. Like,
okay, that's to be fair. If I compare it to Wise Man's Grandchild, this is better. And I feel like I had one character I liked from that show, why I rated it so high. I haven't found a character in this one, except for maybe the teacher. She's fucking hot. But
yeah, she's kind of cool.
But I don't know. I feel like the main character bothers me more for some reason. Maybe because they straight up just have him being like, you could just like take over the world if you wanted.
Yeah, it was kind of different, which was kind of funny. Was You know how in like normal like isekai shows, it's like normally like the girls like gush over the boy main character, and then this one is like the girl teacher was like gushing over Rin was her name or something like that.
Oh yeah,
like,
I did. I feel like
and she's
might
like,
be
oh my god, she's so great. Like I can't believe how strong her magic is. But like kind of like gushing, not like praising, but like gushing over her. I'm like that's a little different. Like you don't really see that in isekai shows, and I kind of like the magic element. How like one's like a wizard and the other is like a sorcerer, and they explain the difference between the two. I'm like that's kind of like a cool element. Like you just assume like they were both like mages or wizards or something like that, but like no, like he could maybe control like space and time and like a Doctor Strange type of thing. The other girl can shoot fireballs, so it's like it's kind of cool like the different magic that they do. But like in no way is the show like amazing. Like it's literally like I always give like the example of like Death March to a Parallel Rhapsody or In Another World with My Smartphone.
Oh god, I hated those so much.
Those are just like cliche isekai shows.
This is definitely better than those. Like okay, maybe I was a bit harsh by saying avoid because those other shows I would have put it as avoid too, and it's definitely better than those. There's no doubt about that in my mind. Maybe I was just a bit harsh.
Yeah, I'm leaving mine at a hard maybe. If you are like looking to find this type of show, like there's a lot of people who just love isekai, and like you need a show for the season. This is the one I would personally recommend. But like in no ways that like go out of your way and you have to watch this great isekai show. Yeah, like I said, there's some cool elements, but like 90% of it's just like cliche everywhere. So that's just my personal opinion.
I do want to give it credit because they did something that I praised Wise Man's Grandchild for, and this one deserves praise as well. Is that they explain why their knowledge from their own world helps them be better at their magic. Like
yes,
it's actually the exact same premise where he's able to, in Wise Man's Grandchild, the main character was it Shin.
Yep.
He was able to like create his spells by just thinking about how the elements and things interact to create it. And that's exactly how the magic works in this world, but everybody does it. And they're just a little bit of knowledge that, gas would burn hotter than like liquid.
Yeah, so that's really cool that you say that.
That I really like. So I'm gonna move it up. Actually, I'm not gonna say avoid because, like you said, there are people that will enjoy this just because it's an isekai, and if that's your thing, it's better than a lot of those other ones like Wise Man's Grandchild, In Another World with My Smartphone, I forget the Parallel World Rhapsody, whatever.
Yeah, it's
better than a lot of them. It does. Like you said, it does a better job than that. So I'll give it a little bit more credit than to say avoid.
And just like I just want to say something real quick before we jump to the next one. Like how you said like in their world, like the people, the main characters, like their world, like she's visualizing how to make fire stronger. So she visualizes gasoline being poured onto a fire, and so when she does that, like her fire gets stronger. But like in their world, they don't have gasoline. So like. And like her mind, she's like visualizing gasoline, and they go to like the teacher, and she's like, "I wonder how she's doing that." Like we have, because her flame is blue, and in their world, they have nothing that can heat fire up that hot, where the fire would turn blue. So it's like it's really cool, like how she visualizes like the fire turning blue because of gasoline, and her being perplexed because she's never seen blue fire. So kind of like a cool. I like that element of like why. Her fire is stronger because she's visualizing it like this, and in response it turns blue, and so really cool.
I could say this would move up on my list if I feel like we figure out soon more about this world and the enemy, because I feel like we really haven't gotten a lot about this besides they got teleported here and now they're training to join the Adventurers Guild.
Yep, and I have...
That,
I'm just going to throw out...
Go on.
I'm going to guess it's either going to be one of two things. One, Demon Lord, or two, like... adventure turned bad. I'm just gonna throw like two. Since it's such a generic show, it's probably gonna be one of the two. My money's on there. I have to kill a demon lord.
I mean, I'll take it. I feel like that's probably my thing. Is I didn't know where it was going, and so I didn't have a lot to really say, and that kind of like pulled me away. Like, if I know where this what's gonna go, I can imagine a setup, and that would definitely help my enjoyment. If like, oh, they're training to defeat a demon lord, or like I give comment like going back to the last one, from commonplace to world's strongest. At least I know this main character is trying to escape this dungeon, and so I give it that. Like I can see where this is gonna be possibly go. In that regard.
Because like they're getting taught because like the only reason was the teachers want them to be able to like be defending themselves, but they don't really say like why. Like these two random people are going out of their way to teach these two, other than the fact that they find out they're super powerful. But like I don't know, maybe there's like an alternative motive or something. Like it would make sense, but there's really, like you said, there's no like why reason.
It's
to, like the show
there's
itself.
not a political thing. There's not like evil bad guy thing. It's just kind of we're training them, and so that's probably where my hesitation comes in. The next episode might explain all that and change everything.
Because I think there's only been 2 episodes since at the time of recording, so like obviously
it's still in setup mode.
It's still setup mode, yeah, for sure. But like I said, if it's like a 12 episode show, they probably should do that earlier. But it is what it is.
Yep.
All right. Next up, we have "Do You Love Your Mom" and her 2-hit multi-target attacks. Another isekai show where a son and a mom get teleported into essentially a beta testing game from the government in order to help their bond as mother and son in this world, just like questing with each other. There's really not much to say about that other than like the mom is like super OP, and then unlike most animes we get MILF fan service, which in some parts is funny and some parts it's like please stop. There's like it has ecchi elements and it's mother and son, so like there's some weird shit that happens sometimes, so those parts are kind of like was that really needed? Because there's like other like casting characters that they could definitely involve with different elements, like in that type of like fan service, I guess. There's some pretty funny parts to the show. I'm gonna give it credit. There's like one scene where they're like interviewing girls to like join their party, and like one girl's like too strong and her mom fears like her son might be hurt by her, so she like declines her to join the party. Like another one where like she doesn't know what an elf is, so she doesn't let her join the party. And then the one like they end up liking is like she doesn't have any combat skills. She gives discounts to the guild, so her mom views it as she's a walking coupon. Her bag can hold like 2,000 items, so she's like really happy that she can store the mom can store all of her stuff with her, so she's allowed to join the party. Like someone like completely useless can join the party because has all these like attributes of like non-violent and like really helpful. So like those parts are super funny, but like in episode 2 there's like a really weird fan service part where I'm like I really wish the scene wasn't in the show. Like and like the fight scenes are like they're not like cool. Like the mom is like bland bitch protagonist OP, and she
makes Kirito look like a bitch. Let's be fair. Like, she's that overpowered. She's
overpowered. Like so, like the action scenes aren't really there. It's literally there. Like the only good qualities of the show are like the fan service and then like the every now and then comedy. There's some like really funny parts though, like when they're like walking around town and like some people don't have faces. And they just say, since the game is in beta, that they didn't do the character like models for like these random characters. I was like, that's super funny. Like, the game's in beta, it's not finished yet, so the characters don't have faces. Like, something like that was like super funny. But if you, I don't really know if there's like that many like ecchi isekais out there that are like watchable. I put this as like a maybe. Like, if this is your thing, watch it. If you want like a traditional isekai, like this is not for you at all. Adam, how did you feel about it, or have you seen it?
Oh yeah, I've seen it. I'm kind of with you on this. It's a maybe for me. I like the fact that it's a MILF that we get in this one, but because it's a mother and son, it always feels like even if I could enjoy it, because there's a son involved, it bothers me. It's like this would be so good if it were just like, a mom was teleported into it and she was like the adventurer and it had these same situations, just her son wasn't involved. I feel like I would enjoy this a lot more. But they're totally trying to get this mother and son like have to grow a bond together, and that's how they. There was a scene in episode 2 that really turned me off, that involved her and her son, and I don't want it to go down that route.
I am going to give a spoiler though that in the light novels there's no romantic anything with the mother and son, so I like that part, but I really wish if there's fan service, don't have it between the two. You can have it between one of them and somebody else.
Have it between the mom and the girls. I don't care.
Or the son and the girls or something.
Yeah.
I also know that this has ecchi elements into it, and like the mom is supposed to be super hot. But
she's pretty hot, especially for a mom. Like,
yeah,
lie. But
just pick and choose, but don't pick the mom and son and these random ass ecchi elements. So. Yeah, like I said, I have it as a maybe. I don't know what you have it as.
I have it as a maybe too. It might be my least favorite of it just because of those scenes, but it also has the potential to be a funny ecchi show. I just wish I wasn't turned off by the MILF element of it.
Yep, I feel you. I completely understand.
The next one we're talking about is the last of the isekai, is Mao-sama Retry. And this one is about a salaryman who gets teleported inside a video game and is made the reincarnation of the Demon Lord or something along those lines. He is the Demon Lord of this fantasy world. And you have the 3 holy maidens that are trying to defeat him, and he's trying to just get the heck out of here. And he is super overpowered, has an overlord feel where the main character is the bad guy, but he's not actually a bad person, at least at the start. Things do change, at least with overlord, but the main character comes across a village, saves a little girl who's being treated like human filth. She has to she's in charge of taking care of the sewer system, and no one gives her the time of day. They actually want to stone her to death at one point, and he basically takes her in and treats her like his daughter, which were similar to another show we're watching.
Yeah,
actually, but so far he also seems to have he gets a power from a stone idol, which might be a god, we're not really sure yet, or a goddess, and he has a ability to transform into some kind of dragonkin, I believe is the word they used. It's an alright show. It's on Funimation, if I remember right.
Yep.
It's an alright show if you like shows where the main character is overpowered and is the bad guy, at least according to the rest of the world. It's not bad, but it's also not great. Just kind of middle of the road. I have it as a maybe.
Yeah, I have it as a maybe, leading more towards a void. The girl that he's with is essentially Rem from ReZero with blonde hair.
Yep.
It's identical. Even though it's as a character, I don't even think she's that bad. But the show itself, like I was saying, if you want to watch a show that has kind of the bad guy, but he's more just along the lines of he doesn't give a shit. I just recommend Overlord or Shield Hero for isekai shows like that. Man, there's really not much to say. Yep. I like the element of people view him as a demon lord, but he's more of an admin or a GM of a server.
Yeah,
and he has access to things, but in the civilians, the only people that have powers like him are demon lords, so I just assume he's a demon lord, even though he's just a Keanu Reeves looking Japanese anime guy. It's a maybe. I think this one, it's up there with From Commonplace to World's Strongest as the worst isekai.
It's not very memorable.
Yeah, it's like yeah, it's not you can't really like remember a whole lot. Like the only scenes that I remember are like her maybe getting stoned. Um, I like that he just like randomly builds a fort. Like that was kind of cool. Like, oh, we need to get a base set up, and then he just like types into his admin things, and then a fort appears. I'm like, that's funny. Like GMs, like if you ever played like WoW, like GMs on servers would just like randomly spawn bosses in like major towns and kill everybody. So like that he can just like randomly spawn a fort if you want to. So I like that's those kind of like MMO elements, but like if you want like a traditional like MMO isekai thing, like watch Log Horizon, and if you want like a bad or like a don't give a shit protagonist, watch like Overlord or Shield Hero type of thing. Yep. It's just like it doesn't really do anything like terrible, but it doesn't do anything like memorable or good. Yeah, it's a maybe. I'll probably drop it like down the road. I think I've watched 3 episodes. It's up there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Isekai is pretty bad this season.
Unfortunately, yeah, I'm with you on, and might drop it just because, like we said, it doesn't do anything bad, but it's so bland at everything that you finish an episode and you're like, okay, well, I really don't care if another episode comes out.
Yeah.
Like, but you at least with like some of the other ones, you can at least see a glimmer of there's a gem around or gem somewhere in there if you work hard enough at finding it. This one, I can't say that about yet.
Yep, same. Alright, next up we have... So we're done with our isekai block, and we're going to be moving into, like, normal shows again. This one's called Given. I believe it's only on Crunchyroll at the moment. The show starts out as, like, a rebellious teenager kid is at lunch, and he just wants to go take a nap. And there's a kid in his napping spot, like in, like, the back stairwell behind the gym type of thing. And he's carrying a guitar. And it's, like, a really nice, like, Gibson guitar. And this kid's like really shy, really timid, but he really likes the idea of the guitar, so this main character like helps him string his guitar so he would leave so he can go take a nap. It essentially revolves around meeting characters because this guy wants to take a nap and things keep running into his way. But he ends up like inviting him. The main character's in like a band. He ends up inviting this kid to like their practice so he can like see like what a band music is like, and it sort of like develops like their friendship with music, and the music is all original. It's like really, really, really good. It's called math rock. That's the genre it's called in Japan. If I had to compare it to like an American band, like maybe like the Black Keys.
Okay.
Like it's like one guitarist, one bassist, one drummer. But like they play like really fast and like different, instead of going like 1 2 3 4 1 2 3 4 type of like strumming, they'll do like 1 2 3 4 5 6 1 2 3 4 5 6 type of like different type of like really fast paced music, and I really 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 liked it. The music itself is like really good. It's definitely gonna be like a character driven story. It kind of is reminding me of like Run with the Wind, where music is an element, but the most important thing is the characters, and I'm kind of getting that vibe. There is a romantic element to it, like a homosexual relationship, but like I haven't seen it yet in the first 2 episodes, and like when it happens, I don't care. But like I'm assuming that's going to draw people away from the show. But like
that's unfortunate.
Like I think I said like in our preview before, like I haven't really seen like that type of show since like Yuri on Ice. Mm-hmm. Even though Yuri on Ice really, I mean, there's like gay undertones, but there's not like real relationship. Even though I mean, like eventually when the movie comes out, maybe it explores that. Where this one, I'm pretty sure down the road, like they have what the thing is, you don't know what character has the relationship. So I'm really looking forward to see as like the characters develop. If you like those type of shows, I would consider it as like a go watch it now type of show. Like if you like Run with the Wind, maybe like a Sound Euphorium type of show, I would say like go watch it now. Like I think the music is that good, the visuals are that good. If maybe just like drama elements and maybe some other goofy stuff that happened to it, I'd maybe put it as like a considerate. But I think it's. I think I legit think when it's all said and done, I think it will be a contender for anime of the season.
Oh,
I
wow.
think it could be that good.
That's high praise because I haven't heard a lot from many people. So that
I don't think it's being watched that
I,
much,
I
but
it must not be because I haven't heard a lick of it except from you. So
yeah, I think just music shows in general, if it's not Idol, is kind of like not many people talk about it. Like even though like shows like Kids on the Slope, where like it's renowned as like an amazing like music slice of life show, like not many people have watched it, but like everyone who's watched it absolutely loves it. I'm kind of getting that vibe from it. I don't know if it's as good as Kids on the Slope, but like it's kind of like that feeling of a show.
all right, the next one we're going to be looking into Hensuki. Would you love a pervert as long as she's cute? And you watched this one as well, correct?
I have watched it.
All right. So this one, it's about a. I don't know what kind of. Do you remember what kind of club it was? Was it like a calligraphy club?
Calligraphy-ish type of, yeah, club.
So the main character is part of like a calligraphy club, and they have to clean up after their senpai who has basically gone through and just trashed the place. Him, his younger sister, a couple for like a librarian, childhood friend, and the senpai are all cleaning up, and then he just he ends up going putting away the stuff. All the girls leave. This is like a harem pretty much. And
It's a harem.
Yeah, it is. He puts away all the cleaning supplies, and when he comes back, there's a love letter to him sitting on the desk with a pair of panties. And he doesn't know which of the girls these panties belong to and who wrote the letter. So he talks to his pretty boy friend, and they come up with a plan. He's trying to basically figure out who this Cinderella is. This panty Cinderella. And he goes through one at a time, going on dates with these girls, questioning them, basically just trying to figure out who left the panties. And he comes to find out that each of the girls, not only do they most likely have a crush on him, but they all have their own weird perverted fetishes. I feel like this show is not going to give you any answers if that's what you're looking for. It's strictly a comedy. It's not all that ecchi from what I remember.
Yeah, there's like some parts, but like
It's no more ecchi than Magical Senpai.
yeah, for sure, yeah.
But it's not all that great. I feel like it's funny at times. And actually the second episode I really liked the date, but then when you find out how the girl is perverted, I feel like it totally killed the mood for me.
Yeah.
It's basically just weird perverted girls that are seemingly normal on the outside, and a bland protagonist who doesn't deserve to have a harem. Like,
To me, it feels like you're watching somebody play a dating sim. Like, it's not good. As of right now, I think this is the worst show of the season. Personally, for me, I have it like as an avoid. Like the only really funny parts are like the girls all have like some different form of like pervertedness. Where like one is like a masochist, one's like a dominatrix, and then I'm assuming as more goes on, you will find out more. So like it's really different in terms of that type of like high school harem show, but it really doesn't do anything else. The animations are absolutely awful. Okay, I shouldn't say they're absolutely awful. There's some scenes where it's absolutely awful. It legit looks like a dating sim, where like a character's like standing next to like a window and it's open and like the wind is blowing, but like her hair is moving, but like literally nothing else is moving. It's like it literally looks like a copy paste type of animations. And then there's some scenes where like they zoom up on someone's face and like it looks like really nice. I'm like, you obviously picked and choose your battles in animation here. Yeah, it's just a typical. I don't even say it's a typical harem, but it's like a pretty you think of high school harems and this is it, except the girls have like a perverted undertone to it that you're like kind of figuring out what it is. Yeah, personally, I have it as like an avoid. I think I've only watched 2 episodes, so I'll watch the 3rd episode before dropping it, because I'm assuming I'm dropping it after the 3rd episode.
Yeah, it's probably like you said, it's probably my least favorite show of the season. I didn't even find the fetishes to be the funny parts. I don't know. I don't know what I found so humorous about it, but it's not a good show. Comparing it to a dating sim is really good. It's like watching a dating sim. That's the perfect description. And the main character's about as like has about as much personality as the main character of a dating sim.
Yeah, like the punchline is supposed to be like, surprise, I'm this type of pervert, but it's like that wasn't funny. Like that was the whole setup for like the joke, like the character, and it's like, okay, like why do I care? That wasn't funny. Like, I don't know. It's just like I really don't know what to say about the show. It's just like, it's bad.
I thought the dominatrix looked really cute on their date. I thought she was
sure.
She was I enjoyed her up until they told me that she was a dominatrix. I'm like, I could date a girl like that.
100. It's like, it's like you meet a girl and she's all nice and stuff, and she's like, oh, by the way, like I have one weird kink. It's like, oh, it can't be that bad. And she's like, I'm actually this. It's like,
takes off her panties, shoves them in your mouth, and says, you're gonna listen to me. You're my slave.
Yeah, it's
now.
Like, actually, you're going to get out.
Yeah, it's like, well, thanks for killing the character, but
yeah, it's like, it just happened in real life. You would never talk to that person again, and now in the show, it's like, well, she's cute, so I might date her. It's like, no, that's not how it works.
That desperate.
Yeah. So that's that.
It's a void for me.
It's a void. Yeah, a void for me too. Next one we have up is called Are You Lost? It's like, what would happen if 4 girls got in a plane crash and one of them was Bear Grylls? And it's them. These 4 girls trying to survive on a deserted island, and it kind of has like a Dumbo thing where like they give like survival tips and stuff of like, if this happened, like how you would survive. It was really cool, like how they describe like how a plant is poisonous or not by like rubbing it on your skin and then waiting to see if it like affects your skin. I'm like, I legit had no idea that was a thing.
I didn't.
Like, that was really cool. Like how they set up like a shower was like kind of like a cool thing, and like how they like devised that plan. It's a short, so it's like 12 minutes an episode. Yeah, I really like this show. I'm just gonna put it as like a consider it, because I don't think you have to go out of your way, but like if you got 12 minutes to kill, I think this is a very, very good short.
Yep, it's my second favorite show of the season that I've watched so far. I'm very satisfied with it. You point out the one scene that I really thought was cool was the rubbing the vegetable or the plant on your arm to see if you kept some kind of rash or anything. Like, I don't know how many people would actually be like, yeah, I knew that. Like, just off their top of their head.
I didn't,
like,
yeah.
It's survival techniques like you could use, even if it's like you're not stuck on like an island. Like, maybe you only have like you're like lost in the woods or something. It could be something useful. Or just knowing like what the 3 key things for survival is, like the order you should prepare yourself, like shelter, water, food. How to find water if you feel like there was a stream there. Like, you can find running water by digging down. Like, small things like that really like accentuate, like, I didn't know that. It makes the show a lot more fun.
Yeah, like, I don't know if I'll ever use this, but it's kind of like, it's just like learning like random facts about things. Like, that's actually kind of cool. Like, I never really thought about it, and now that you told me, it's like, that makes sense, and I like it's really cool.
Yep.
But it's like, there's not really like a whole lot to say about it. It's just like a quick 12-minute short of girls on a deserted island, and it's like, but like it does what it wants to do really well. That's why, like, I know, Adam, you don't like give shorts like really high like ratings, but like I think this one could be like a legit, like, what it wants to do in 12 minutes. It does it very like informative and to the point,
Yep.
and it does it very well.
Yep. I almost wish it was a full 30-minute show.
Yeah,
I
and it's like the ecchi elements like legit like make sense. Where like she takes like the fish and like squeezes it with her shirt, and so it's like you get like a fan service thing, but like it makes sense like why she took off her shirt to like do this thing with the like hang it up with for a fish or something like that. I'm like, yes, ecchi, that makes sense. I like that.
Yeah.
And it was like one of those things where like you don't see that in shows.
Yeah, I watch a lot of shorts, and a lot of time they don't end up rating highly. But this one I have as, like I said, my second favorite show of the season that I've watched so far. I feel like it'll at least, when I add in like Doctor Stone and Danmachi and Vinland Saga, and I get to some of these other shows, I feel like it'll still be in my top 5. It's definitely worth at least consider it. If
Yes, absolutely.
So, next one we're going into, if it's for my daughter, I would even defeat a Demon Lord. And this was one I know we're both watching. We both came into it, I think, on different sides of whether we thought it was, well, not where we thought it was going to go, but how we were going to enjoy it. I feel like I fell more off of it after the first episode than I wanted to. It dropped for me. It's about a hero who comes across a young girl in the woods, and he gives her some food. Has horns, and she's a demon, and she's been kicked out of her society. And he finds out that she's by herself because her father died. He was a demon lord, and he wanted her to get away from his body because the wild animals were going to start to eat it. So this adventurer takes her in and treats her to like his own daughter. He basically adopts her, but there's obviously a racial difference. She doesn't speak the language, so he's trying to be a parent to her. It's cute. I don't really know what else to say about it. Kind of, like I said, if I fell off of it more so after the first episode than I thought I was going to. Do you have a lot to say about it?
Yeah, because the thing was, like, it's supposed to be a father-daughter relationship. And it doesn't really feel like a father-daughter relationship. It feels like, I'm not going to say any spoilers, but if you want to see a spoiler, look up the volume 8 of the light novel. And it just doesn't seem like it has that dynamic. I said, like, as long as they like keep it in the show and they like don't make more than 12 episodes, I'll be fine with it. But it's kind of like hitting me in a way where I wish it didn't. Like I said, it fell off for me episode 2 a little bit. Something, I don't know, it's just something about the show where it's like the scenes where Latina, the main character girl, is in it, I enjoy. And everything else I don't care. Like, I don't care about like Dale's adventure and like what he's doing outside of like being a quote unquote father. Like, I really don't care, and I don't even like the elements to it. Like, there's like a fight scene in this episode, and it was like really rushed and bad. Mm-hmm. So like literally the only enjoyment I get out of the show is the interactions with Latina and like her friends, and with like Kenneth and Dale, and I forgot the other girl's name. Like, those are fine elements, but everything else is like, I don't know.
And I feel like my opinion changed knowing where it will eventually lead. But at the same time, like, I was coming into it. I tried to come into it with like trying to ignore that part, but I feel like I can't now. And I had such high hopes for this show because everyone that read it was saying like it's so good. It's like if you like Sweetness and Lightning or something, you'll like this. But I didn't get that vibe as much as I wanted to. And maybe it's just that the books and stuff are better.
I think that even if you didn't know what happens in the books, I think you could still get that vibe from it, because I know that like Dale is like, I don't know how old he is I think he's like 18 or 20 in the show, and Latina is 7. And like it makes sense where like obviously he doesn't know everything to like fatherhood, but like he doesn't treat her like a daughter. He treats her as like a cute dog who can like talk. Yeah. And like it's like if you want like a father-daughter relationship type of show, watch Sweetness and Lightning, where like it has real like dynamics to it. But like I just don't want to give away any spoilers or anything like that too much. But like it's just like it's missing the father-daughter relationship. It's like she's a pet.
That's a good way to put it.
I have it as like a maybe because it's like there's some parts that I like a lot. Like Latina's super cute, and like when she like starts discovering things and like doing stuff for herself, like I like those like slice of life elements a lot. But then the next scene, like Dale's on an adventure, it's like it completely changes like the dynamic of the show for me. So I put it as a maybe. I don't think I'm going to drop it. I'll probably watch every episode, but like I have a feeling like by the end of the season, it's going to be like a 5 or like a 6, that type of show range.
I'm with you on everything you said there. It's a maybe. It'll probably be a 6 for me. Though I did have someone point out, because when I told a friend of mine that I wasn't really liking the show, he called me a hypocrite and was like, well, you like Raftalia so much. And that was the same kind of thing. And I try to explain there's a big difference between the way Shield Hero does it, where the main character, Naofumi, takes in Raftalia. She is not in any way do they portray him as like father-daughter. Like, this isn't like an adoption thing that happens and then they build a relationship. But in this case, it is. This is a parent, an adult, that takes this child in with the intention of being like an adoptive father. And that's, I guess, where my issue comes in with how this thing goes. You know what I'm saying?
I do not get that comparison at all for how you could compare the two.
Well, because Raftalia starts out as like 7 years old, and by the end of the show,
that's just like but that is so different.
I'm with you on that, but
I don't even think it's even close to like comparing the two, because it's the only thing I guess you can compare it to is like the main characters are like using them for like different reasons, because like it feels like like Latina's a pet in this, not like a daughter. And Shield Hero, she's a slave, so like using the girls for.
Well, he was getting more at like any type of romantic thing, where it's like, well, Naofumi and Raftalia, there's like a romantic thing there, and if this goes down a romantic route, why are you so upset with it? Well, you love Raftalia and you don't have a problem with that, and I'm like, because he wasn't like raising her. This wasn't, I'm being your parent, and then all of a sudden, oh, now I'm romantically interested in you. Well, if this one goes down that route, that is a parent, it's raising a child and then becoming a lover. That's where the issue is.
It's like Woody Allen in real life is Dale from this show, and then Naofumi from Shield Hero is like. That's different. I don't know if you could compare it to somebody, because nobody buys slaves anymore. I mean, they do, unfortunately, in the world. But like, it's really hard to compare him. Where like Woody Allen is a terrible. I don't say he's a terrible person, but like what he did was really, really weird. Like technically not illegal, but like I think everybody could be like, I would never do that. Yeah, a little creeped out by it. Or like Naofumi and Raftalia, like their intentions are like it's like built up throughout the show, and it's like I don't know, it doesn't seem like it has that type of element at all.
Yeah, they never put themselves in a we're family type of situation, where this is we're family and then now we're going to be more than just family type. Well, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, Raptor, they start off like you're my sword, I'm your shield. We are adventurers together, but that's it. I'm not your parent, even though he is taking care of her for an episode. But
yes,
I don't know.
Yeah.
To me, that's a big difference, and why I feel like one I don't mind, while the other one crosses the line when they start to be like intending that this is a family, a stepfather type of family that's being built here.
Yep. And then I have it as like, I think I said already that I have it as a maybe. If you want to watch a show similar to this, just watch Sweetness and Lightning. And what did you give it?
I said maybe. It'll probably end up by being like a 6 or something by the end of it.
Yep, sounds about right. All right, and last but not least is Vinland Saga, which is every season Amazon Prime gets one anime exclusive to them, and this is it. They came out with 3 episodes immediately, and then they're waiting like 3 weeks before the fourth episode, which comes out next Monday, I believe, or next Sunday. A lot of people compare it to Berserk. Very like the fight scenes are brutal. They are. It's gory. It's quick. It's large scale, like slice and dice type of show set in like Iceland and during like the Viking era. The story centers around like a boy who is set out for revenge after his father dies, and you kind of learn about the backstory in the first 3 episodes. If you are a fan of like Berserk and those type of shows, this is definitely the show for you. The animations are fine. It's by Wit Studios, who did Attack on Titan. I think that there really hasn't been any scenes that like stand out, but I think it definitely has the opportunity down the road to have like they have like a ship battle, like a large scale ship battle, but that's about it in terms of like large scale battles. So I think down the road when we see like 2 armies running at each other, we're probably gonna get some pretty brutal and intense fight scenes. Right now, I have it as a consider it. It's probably going to be like a you have to see it type of show. I think just the first 3 episodes were like building up the story. There's going to be way more to it. I know a lot of people are in for it for like the action, and that's definitely what it's going to be like. Especially when there's going to be a time skip where the main character grows up, because in the first 3 episodes, the main character is like 7, and I think on like the front cover of like the manga. And even on like the front cover of this show, I think he's more like in his 20s when the time skip happens. So I definitely have it bordering like the consider it, go watch it now. So yeah, definitely if that's your type of thing, like you like Berserk, you like those type of shows, go check it out.
Sounds like.
And then just to wrap up this segment, I'm gonna give my personal top 5 of the season so far, and then Adam's gonna give his recommendations as well. So for right now, number 5 for me is Dr. Stone. Number 4 is Vinland Saga. I think Vinland Saga is going to be higher as more episodes come out. But right now it's just a 4. Number 3 is Given. Number 2 is How Heavy Are the Dumbbells You Lift? And it's neck and neck with number 1 with Maidens of the Seventh Season.
Yeah, and for me, I don't know if I have a top 5. I do have a couple that I would just say, go watch them right now. Because they're worth at least giving a shot. How Heavy Are the Dumbbells You Lift? I can't praise enough. I absolutely love that. And Are You Lost, I think, is definitely worth a shot. It's we talked about these 2 to death, so those are my top 2. And Magical Senpai, for a short, if you're gonna watch Are You Lost, throw Magical Senpai in. They come out at the same time on the same day, so you could burn 25 minutes and watch both of them. They're worth it.
All right. Next up is what would be our discussion and viewer questions. But instead, we would like to focus on our discussion on what happened at Kyoto Animations earlier this week, with the arson that occurred where unfortunately 33 people lost their lives in the process. Kyoto Animation is known for such brilliant work such as Violet Evergarden, A Silent Voice, Clannad, Hyoka, and the list goes on and on. With no doubt the worst day in anime history. And Adam, would you like to share your thoughts on what maybe Kyoto Annie means to you and your thoughts on the whole story in general?
I'm actually quite sad to hear about this. This arson was, from what I hear, completely like unfounded. There was no reason for it. It was just a sick person doing a really sick thing. And my prayers and thoughts go out to all those that are affected by this. It is a sad day for many anime fans because a lot of these shows have left personal impressions on all of us. A Silent Voice is one of my favorite films of all time. And it's a moving series, and it's a very beautiful series about like forgiveness and stuff. And it's just so disheartening to see a studio that's done so much work and so much good for everyone, including a lot of their animators and stuff are some of the most well treated in the industry, have such a tragic event happen to them.
It's really unfortunate, especially since Kyoto Animations, from what I was reading, really goes above and beyond for their employees. A lot of this is the animations. I shouldn't say it's male-dominated like career path, but there's a lot more males than females, and Kyoto Animation is one of the different ones in the like a pioneer essentially in like the anime industry where I mean, the building that was burned down has a nursery in it because so many of their employees are moms and females, and like they take care of like their employees, and so it's like to do this to like obviously that anybody would be awful, but like Kyoto Animations is like what like one of the shining lights in the anime industry. I mean, they're no doubt like up there with like Trigger and A1 Productions and JC Staff as like these mega powerhouses of the anime industry, and to see it happen to like such good people is awful. And when it happened, I remember hearing about it while I was at work, and I was like very very distraught by it. Where unfortunately, like in America, where you get like school shootings that seems to happen weekly, you're kind of like numb to that fact. At least I am, where I'm like, it's really sad when like a school shooting happens, but like it happens, and I'm kind of just like, oh, it like that's a whole nother like politic thing that I'm not going to get into, but like it's definitely like it's an epidemic in like America, and then to hear something about that like in Japan, and like it almost seemed like fake. Like it seems like somebody hacked like CNN News and made a fake article about it. Like how, this doesn't exist in Japan, like. And of all things, like Kyoto Animation, like it was unreal. Like I legit could not do work for like the first 4 hours of my work shift. Like I just read Reddit articles and different articles about it, and it like really like affected me because like similar to you, like A Silent Voice is like it means a lot to me. Like that movie, like it definitely like it reflects on like it's a coming of age story of like a person of who he was and who he is now. And I view that as like who I am and who I used to be type of thing, and so like there's a really good chance that somebody who like literally affected my life probably died on this week in that fire, and it just to other people it might be like really unfortunate to them, and but like it probably doesn't hit people as hard as like me or you or that type of thing. So I definitely just wanted to like bring it up and talk about it and like express like how much like if anybody out there like ever listens to it, like how much like it means to like me as a person, like that you made A Silent Voice, or like I know a lot of people like Violet Evergarden, a lot of the Clannad After Story, like those types of shows, like they mean a lot to a lot of people, and like those people unfortunately lost their lives because of some lunatic.
And just to like put it into perspective, like just how oft or how little this happens in Japan. If I recall correctly, I read an article that said that this was the biggest mass murder in Japanese history since World War II.
Yeah, there's like that, and then there's like a gas attack or something that happened at like a Tokyo rail station I read or something like that. But I don't know like the exact details.
In terms of death count, I believe.
Yeah, it's like it's insane. Like this never happens, especially in Japan, and. I mean, like I hate like hearing people like, well, why did they like jump out the window? It's like I hate when people say stuff like that. Like,
well, from what I was reading, like that might not even have been an option because the guy, from what I read, I wasn't there, I can't speak from like personal experience, but he went through the building, pouring the gasoline and lighting it up. So the fire wasn't just something that's like, oh, there's a fire downstairs, let's jump out. It was, there's a fire, and he's spreading it floor to floor to floor.
Yes.
All the way up. So this wasn't a very, like, they didn't have a lot of time to really just react and jump out the window. It started, and it engulfed the building very quickly.
Yeah, I don't know if you've ever been around gasoline before, but it spreads super fast. A lot of times, like, you might have been preoccupied and not have noticed, and that type of thing where, like, you have a split second to react, or you might even have a second to react type of thing where like it's people lost their lives. Like don't be like an ass. Like I don't know. It's like when I hear like those arguments online and stuff like that, it like drives me crazy. But
and let's not worry about why these people didn't like do this X, Y, or Z. Like the real question is how do we prevent this from happening again? Not how do we save ourselves when it inevitably happens again.
Yeah, so really, really tough situation, and I don't know. I don't want to bring the podcast down too much, but I definitely wanted to discuss it for a little bit.
Yep.
All right, so let's transition into something much better. How about our off the cuff segment? It's a segment where me and Adam ask each other questions with no prior knowledge of what either of us are thinking. I'll go first.
Alrighty.
All right, I'm going to give a shout out to an anime podcast I listen to called Anime Talk, and they kind of brought up this idea, so I wanted to also bring it up and get it from your opinion. All right, and Adam, in America, we honor our past leaders of our country by carving 60-foot replicas of their face on the side of a mountain in South Dakota and call it Mount Rushmore. Okay. My question for you today is, if America was taken over by weebs and we had to make a new Mount Rushmore of anime, who should be on it? And a bonus question is, who would you personally put on it? Like, your personal, like, Mount Rushmore.
Okay, my personal Mount Rushmore, what, I need like 4 people or 5 people or something?
4 people, only 4.
4 people. Alright, well, I'm obviously throwing up Naruto just because the Hokages always have to go up on a mountain. My Simone, the digger from Gurren Lagann. Simone, I everyone that knows me knows how much I love him, how much I look up to that character and respect him. So put Simone up there. Let's see. We need a empowering female. So I definitely would. I wish I knew one a little better than this, but we'll throw up Sailor Moon up there.
Okay.
And I'm trying to, let's move something away from the action genre, more of a, can I throw up Taiga from Toradora?
Sure. This is your
do
personal.
Oh, I know. That's what I'm gonna do, because I love her. She's so sweet and.
Okay, but what do you think should be on the Mount Rushmore?
Should be up there.
Like, not your personal taste, but like overall in anime in general.
Man, this is so hard. So let me just get this. So, who should be like most influential characters? Or are we talking like who other weebs would throw up?
Maybe
there?
like, I think like how, like people who like transcend, like characters that like transcended anime. Maybe for like what they did for like maybe a genre, or just like in terms of overall popularity.
All right, so then I'm gonna throw up Goku. Goku's going up there, and I still think Naruto makes it. The other 2, man, this is a tough one.
And I'm basing this on if it was in America, so more towards a Western audience.
Yeah,
I think if it was like
audience.
the Japanese version of a Mount Rushmore, it might be a little different.
Spike Spiegel. And man, let's put Ash Ketchum.
Yep, I had him as well.
So yeah, Spike, Goku. You know what? I'm taking Naruto off there, and I'm putting Sailor Moon back up there.
Okay, she was also in my Mount Rushmore.
And Ash Ketchum. Those 4, I feel like, they cover the most, like, at least back in the golden day, like, of anime, like, the big faces of the industry.
Yeah.
Like, if they saw those characters, except for maybe Spike, they would know who they are. And Spike is just one of those, like, American, like, anime, like a real American anime fan would just, I know who that is. So that's my answer.
Okay, I think that was pretty good. I think we had very similars. Mine was Goku, Luffy, Sailor Moon, and Ash.
Oh, I can see that.
Yeah.
All right. So my question for you is: are you familiar with the term crossplay?
No. Should I Google it?
No, I'll explain.
Okay.
So you know what cosplay is?
Okay, so is crossplay like cosplaying as like a different gender?
Yes.
Okay.
If you had to pick one character to crossplay as,
ooh,
who would you pick?
Well, unfortunately, my favorite anime female character of all time is 5 years old, I believe. So I don't think I can. Who is that? It's Haru from Barakamon.
Okay.
It's not weird. I think she's just an amazing character. It's literally my Discord icon.
Okay. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so I'm kind of taller and kind of bigger.
And I like where you're going with that, because that's kind of what I wanted you to aim for. Someone that you could, but that you would also want to.
Oh, I know exactly who I would do. Is Olivier from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Okay.
She's such a badass character. Like, she's legit my favorite character in Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. Like, I absolutely love her character. Like, how just absolutely badass she is. Like, I don't have blonde hair. Like, I'm Irish, so that would be really hard.
There's wigs for that.
Yeah, there's wigs for that, but yeah, I think it'd be Olivier from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I love her character in general. If I could somehow transform into a 5-year-old girl, I would do Naru. But I think for my build, I think I could come off as a pretty strong and empowering blonde woman.
Alrighty, I'll take that answer. That was a good one. I like that you went for one that you could actually like pull off. And I don't want any like I'm not telling anyone out there that cosplays. Do who you want to do. It doesn't matter to me, and it shouldn't matter to you what my opinion is on it. For me personally, I always like to aim for like a body type or like something that fits you. But if you don't want to do that, don't even worry about it. I didn't want anyone to think that I was saying like, oh, if you're a bigger girl, you can't play a skinny person, or if you're a skinny person, you can't play a bigger girl, like, or guy or whatever. Like, you do you. But I like that you went for like someone that like fits you, like your general shape and stuff that you feel like you like and that you have a similar build to. That's cool.
Yeah, and I have pretty hairy legs, so I don't think I could pull off a skirt well. So I mean, like that she wears pants.
That's part of the fun of crossplay, though, is like you still keep those masculine elements, but everyone knows which character you're doing. Like,
okay,
if I were to do like I don't know Sailor Moon or something, which wouldn't work for me. I'm way too short.
Yeah,
Usagi's a bit taller, but like. I have hairy legs too. I wouldn't pull off a skirt well. I'm also a bigger guy, but whatever. Who cares?
Yeah.
All right, so our final segment of the day is a new segment that I wanted to introduce, and I kind of want to give a shout out to where I stole this from because it was not my original idea, but IGN does a video game podcast where they have a game they play at the end of it. This podcast is called Game Scoop, and this is a segment they call 20 questions. But we're going to switch it up. We're not doing a video game because this isn't a video game podcast. We're going to do an anime. And so I thought of an anime, and Peter is going to have 20 questions. He can ask me 20 yes or no questions. And on the 20th one, he has to guess what anime that I'm thinking of. I'll answer the questions honestly. And that's basically it. It's a pretty simple game. So, Peter, you got 20 questions to guess the anime that I'm thinking of right now.
Alright, my only question that I hope doesn't count is that if I think I know the answer before the 20th question, can I, like, guess the anime, and if that's wrong, it counts as a question?
Yes. We'll allow that.
Alright, 20 questions. Alright, here we go. First question, is this a show?
Like a TV show?
Yeah, like, not a movie. Is it a show?
No.
It's not a show. Okay. Was it released before the year 2000?
Yes.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Is it a Ghibli film?
No.
Wow. This is gonna be tough because I know shows way better than movies. Okay. Did it have a theatrical release? In America, let's put it that way.
I can't say for sure.
Okay.
Does
that count as a question then if we don't know?
No, we're not going to count that as a question because I can't answer it.
Okay. Can you find it on any streaming sites that you know of?
Legal ones?
Is it on Crunchyroll or Funimation or
not
Netflix?
Any legal ones that I know of.
Okay. Oh, okay, this is gonna be tough then. Oh god. Is it like an action based? I guess I haven't said if it's a movie. Okay, is it a movie?
Yes.
Okay, is it an action based movie?
It would fall under the action genre, yes.
Okay.
That was 6, just
so it's a movie and it's not a show. And it was made prior to the year 2000. Is it? I guess that's too vague of a question. How about, is there like a good chance, like if you went to like a Best Buy, that would be on the shelves type of movie? Is it like that popular?
It's popular, yes. I don't know if it would be on a Best Buy shelf, no. So I'll give you a little bit of a...
Okay.
I don't think it would be on a Best Buy shelf, but when it came out, it would have been.
Okay. Are there any sequels to this movie?
No.
Are there any remakes to this movie?
Pending.
Okay.
So that's eventually, or I guess a yes.
Is it based in the future?
Yes. That was 10.
That's 10. Okay. Is the main character a male?
Yes.
Does he ride a motorcycle?
Yes.
Is it Akira?
Yes. I wanted to make sure the first one was one that was very possible to get. I didn't want to play it cheap and be like, it was the cooler Dragon Ball Z movie.
No, that's what I was like. I know like prior to 2000, like I probably know like 15 anime movies. So I was like, I really hope it's one of those then.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure that the first time was one that most people would have been able to get, just so that people know the game. So you got it much faster than I thought you were gonna, though.
I got it in 13.
13 questions.
Well, luckily, I mean, the odds were in my favor, where it was one of 15 movies I've seen. So that's a fun game, though. So
next time, I'm gonna have you think up a question, and then I'll, or better yet, if anyone wants to write in, message Pete, do a DM to him on Twitter, or talk to him personally, or whatever. Just make sure that I don't get it, and then next time Pete can ask me a question and see if I can guess the fans' questions. If that
that's
if that
perfect.
Works for you.
Perfect transition. If you want to follow us or contact us, follow us on Twitter at WhatDoYouSayAnime. That's WhatDoYouSay ANI on Twitter. Or you can email us at WhatDoYouSayAnime@gmail.com. What a great way to end the podcast. Yeah, this has been episode 3 of the podcast, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks, guys.
Have a good one, everybody.